Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, for being here. So apparently, the chairman of the Intelligence Committee has some kind of eyes that we don't know about because he took my first two questions. But as a Marine, I'm going to adapt and adjust. Okay. His second question was about, and I'll explain this. You and I both support American-made goods and strengthening the supply chain. In the National Defense Authorization Act of 2020, Congress established a prohibition on the use of federal transit funds to procure passenger rail cars, trains, buses, and from Chinese and state-owned support groups like CRRC. Any expansion to prohibit requires contracts that were signed before 2020, and no significant modifications can occur, according to that law. The Biden administration provided Chicago Transit Authority with $200 million last year for rail replacement, and I have concerns that some of those funds could be up and being used to purchase from CRRC. So my question is, given the requirement of the law, Chinese state-owned rail manufacturers like CRRC, has DOT conducted reviews of the Chicago Transit Authority to continue that they might be using these funds illegally?
I am not aware of that. I will circle back with FRA and I'll get you an answer on that. But I'll tell you this: I am committed to the Buy American provisions, okay, and making sure that we are not funding Chinese companies to build product in the U.S.
Thank you. Also, both of you and I come from rural America, God's country, as we call it. And I hear from my constituents all the time that repairing rural roads and smaller cities, small towns are forced to compete for a smaller pie all the time. Mr. Secretary, do you think it would be beneficial for rural America to have a dedicated funding stream for rural and agricultural road improvements work to invest in the first mile and the last mile?
Listen, I do think it's important that we pay special attention to rural America. Oftentimes it can be forgotten, but it's great in this body and with a secretary who comes from rural America to understand the hardship even applying for grants and how do we help them access more dollars to make sure their infrastructure meets the 21st century.
Well, I want to close out my last few seconds here by simply saying I think you're doing a great job, and I would want to let you know that in my committee, the VA committee, when Doug Collins, Secretary Collins gave testimony, I think it's wonderful to watch former legislators deal with legislators, and I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you, sir.